What if the biggest threat to your business isn't your competitors, but it's your spreadsheets? Sylvestre Dupont co-founded Parseur to fix the invisible time suck that's draining businesses daily, which is manual data entry. From global consulting gigs to building a world-class automation platform, Sylvestre is here to show us how cutting out robotic tasks can help us listen better, serve smarter, and finally scale like we mean it. So, Mr. Sylvestre Dupont, happy to have you here. How are you?
Yeah, very happy to be here. I'm doing very good. How are you, Robert?
I'm very fantastic. And anything AI, I just feel like no matter how obsessed I get with it, no matter how much time I allot to it, how much I work on it, I'm always behind. I'm overwhelmed. I'm excited. It's just this super weird era. And it seems like working with AI, the bottleneck, at least for me, is always in making the pieces fit together, right? Like, well, I have to like reformat this document, or I have to like take this JSON into that, or I have to like connect it to some other systems. It always seems like such a hassle, but it seems like you've created this platform, you stumbled upon something that like solves this kind of current AI bottleneck. And so you have this amazing platform called Parseur. So what is it and what are you up to in general?
Yeah, first and foremost, Parseur was not born out of AI. So we are quite an old company in the space. We are there for about 10 years now. And we are an automation company first and foremost. So what we do is that for companies that receive too many documents, too many emails, too many PDFs, too many CSVs, spreadsheets, or whatever, and currently have some employees sitting on their desktops and copy and pasting the data from the documents to whichever other tools they're using, we automate that part because we find it's boring, it's low added value, and I'm sure you have better things to do to your employees. So when we started, that was 10 years ago, and AI was not as crazy as it was now. So we started as a non-AI product. So there were already some other solutions doing that, but we found they were much too complex. You had to most of the time be a developer, understand regular expressions, if that tells anything to you. You had to integrate, maybe sometimes write a bit of codes to get what you wanted. And we said, no. That's most of the companies, they want to automate this, but they don't have the time to learn all those technical details. So let's make it easy for the users. And we started to make something visual. So we would ask you to send a document. We started with emails. And you say, okay, this is what you sent us. Now, what do you want in that email? So you would highlight visually what you wanted. And then once Parseur would receive the second similar email, you said, oh yeah, I've seen this one before. I know I did this here, that here, and I got it done. And so as I said, there were already a few solutions around the time, but what made it successful is that it was simple. So that's at the core of what we try to offer. And when the AI craze came a few years ago, of course, we jumped on the bandwagon, and of course, we added AI extractions to make it even more simple. But still with the automation mindset behind it, because AI is a tool. Automation is a process. So to be able to automate fully something, you want to get the human out of the way. And nowadays, there are many companies that claim that they automate data extractions from their documents, etc. But then you cannot even sign up to their product. You can even try it. You have to talk to somebody. You have to have a human do it. So for me, it's a bit weird, right? You are like claiming you are embracing AI. You are like doing everything great, but still you leave some humans in the flow. So what we try to do at Parseur is to have it full self-service so that we are there behind. If you want to talk to us, there will be somebody, but you can do everything on your own, at your own pace, in your own web-based version without talking to anybody.
Very nice. And you can get it done, right? You have the best of both worlds. You have the power and you also have the simplicity. And so I'm looking at Parseur right now about how it works and the screenshots and the animations. So you say that you select a parser type, right? Invoices, real estate leads, bank statements. You import your documents and then you extract your data. And you, like you said, there's AI now, but there's also the text recognition, the OCR, there's the text parsing like HTML and text documents, and then you connect it to the applications, right? Connect it to the Zapier or the Make, and then you get it all done. And so as far as this people using the tool, like what do you think that you've applied to make it simplicity friendly? Like, and how do you even do that? Because it seems like there's always the trade-off, right? It's like if you make it one or two buttons, you can't do a lot, but if you can do anything with it, then next thing you know, you're writing code. So how did you even wrap your head around this huge problem to solve?
Well, it's an iterating process. So simplicity guide all our choices we make. That's something that is core to us. And every time we add a feature, we try to see, okay, do we need that button? Do we need that drop down? Can't we just decide for the user and make it work? And then most of the time we are able to find ways to have smart default to make it just work, as Apple would say, and that's happy. And then if you become a power user, then you can go to the settings, tweak a few things here and there. But for us, our happiest day at Parseur is when we can remove a button or remove a drop down from an app and have no impact on the user experience. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to. We're not flying a plane here, so we just want the user have documents, they want their data, and that's it. They should be just able to say, I want the invoice number and I want the customer reference and the grand total in my data, and that's it. And that's what we do now. With AI, you can do that. You can let just the user input some fields, name the fields, add maybe some instructions in case you have a bit of context you want to give, and most of the time that works very, very good.
Very nice. And that's a great mindset to have, right? You say, well, I'll iterate with the intention of, is there a button that I can remove? And you have to imagine that's probably how we ended up with the smart TVs where there's no off button, right? Why do we need to turn it off? I just stopped using it. With the phone, why do we need a keyboard? Someone said, well, let's just think of this crazy idea and see if there was a possibility where we could just have like one less thing to push, one less button. And so as far as fixing up that interface or making it simpler, like, is there any particular removal or change to like your interface or an interface that you've seen that you think is just like really mind blowing, like really cool as far as the simplicity it delivers?
Yeah, well, for us specifically in our domain, it was when we moved from what we call the template-based extraction. So where, as I said before, you would visually highlight the data, to not even requiring the user to do that, to just asking the user, what do you want? And let them type whatever they wanted and get it. So at first they had to understand how the tool worked and what did it mean to highlight data and what would happen if in the next document the things moves a bit up and down or left or right, and how they could cater with that. And now it's not necessary. So we had this template editor that is still there, that it still works great for plenty of users, but that was quite complex because you had many buttons and many types of settings you could do. And now I would say 95% of our users that sign up nowadays don't never see this editor because they're very happy with the AI version where they just tell the AI what they want.
Well, very cool. And that's always the way it's headed, right? Like we mentioned Zapier a few minutes ago of where I used to, I mean, it still is tedious, right? To set up like an automation or a workflow of some kind, but with all these tools like Zapier and others and yours that they add the AI component, it's just so nice when it just kind of works, right? And I say, well, hey, I know the input, I know the output, and I know it's like these 5 to 8 steps, but then if it says, hey, we can kind of get you most of the way there and it just magically works, it's like, cool. Now that frees up my brain power to focus more on that high level. And so when people are using your tool Parseur, they have things to do, right? They have goals, they have deadlines, they have projects, and it's really tempting to over-engineer or geek out or just like get spread too thin. So do you have any advice on that? Like how to stay on mission and how to like get things done and how to make sure that using a tool like this increases productivity instead of adding to the confusion?
Yeah, well, I would say that once you are time constrained, often it's because you have peaks of activity. I mean, we see that a lot for companies, for example, accounting departments. They have to do the yearly filing at different time in the year, depending on the country. But often there is a rush before they have to file the tax return to get everything done. So, and of course, the company has a fixed number of employees. They will not ramp up twice or four times their and head counts for just for this period. Or like the e-commerce sites just before Black Fridays or before Christmas, they always have a lots of orders or they have to lots of marketing to do about the discounts. So this is where automation is best because a computer or robots, they don't care whether you tell them to do something once or to do it 100 times or a million times. As long as you describe it once and it fits the repetition, they will happily do it and they will not complain. They will not get tired. They will not get mental breakdowns because it's too much. And so as a company that has those types of peaks of activity, or just as a company that is spread too thin, as you said, it's very interesting to look at what are the bits that are repetitive, what are the bits that are the same every single time, and you don't need like a super advanced PhD to do it. You just have to written process and you can automate it. And solutions like Parseur, but not only like Zapier, like Make and Power Automate and all those automations platform are great for that because they allow you to interconnect different tools and you can have a multi-step process and you can, as long as it's clear, you have written down what is your process that you have to perform in the company, chances are that you should be able to automate, I don't know, 80% of it quite easily. So it's a bit of setup in advance. Maybe you have to tweak a few things in your company, a few process, a few reporting. But if you invest that time now, it's going to pay dividends 100-folds later on down the line.
I like it. They call that delayed gratification, right? Where you put in more time and maybe more mental brain power now, and then it will pay off later. And you're saying it's this work of systematizing and sorting, reorganizing, and saying, hey, we do all these things, right? We have this whole mess of tasks, and a lot of the times we're doing it on repeat and we don't even realize it, and we keep kind of starting over and we say, hey, if we knew that there were the inputs and outputs that are the same every time, and we can kind of set that aside and let the AI and the automation do that and repeat it, then it might not be 100% perfect. There might be like a couple of steps and there might have to tweak the system. But hey, if you can get even some of that work offloaded, then now you can get a lot more done. It can be more reliable, consistent. You could scale better. That's what we all want, right? And that's what we kind of need to do in order to keep up with the future. And so with Parseur, there's all kinds of things that people can do with it, right? We've mentioned about things like emails and working with leads and work orders, utility bills, deliveries, job searches. Is there anything that you think is maybe not used enough, something that's underused as far as what someone could use Parseur for?
Well, I think I would say our main blind spot today is not an industry or use case, is just generally speaking, some businesses are too busy with their daily job and tasks to realize that they could improve things, to realize that there is automation that could be done with or without AI, by the way, just to simplify their day to day so that they can invest more time and more effort in doing stuff to grow their business. So I think for us, things are changing fast now with AI, but it's still, I would still think that many businesses are just too busy to consider it. So I'm very glad that to be able to speak on a podcast like yours and maybe touch some business owners that were not aware of what could be done today, so that maybe plant a little seed in some people and see what they could do.
And what is coming? Like, what's maybe not possible yet, or is on the cutting edge that's kind of there but not quite perfected? Like, I mean, what's exciting in the next year or two as far as AI and automation and Parseur?
Well, I think we have had most of the revolution, I would think, in terms of AI, how it has advanced. And I think what we're going to see from now on is it's going to be marginally smarter and smarter every few months. So which is going to compound a lot over time, but it's not going to be like from zero to where we went 2 years ago with ChatGPT. And so you're going to see a marginal improvement of quality every few months of the quality of the results. Is going to be able to understand better what you say and better what you want. And it's going to be also cheaper to run. So then for us, for instance, we are hopefully going to be able to pass down those savings onto the customer. I think there are lots of discussions on AGI, to have the AI that is smarter than anybody, any human. And I mean, I'm a user of AI and a developer of AI, but I'm not an AI nerd. I don't have PhD in AI. But as far as I understand, we are not yet at AGI. The current technology is very good at understanding things based on their training, but not good enough to come up with their own groundbreaking solutions. So maybe I will be wrong if we see this podcast in a few years and AGI is there anyway, all sipping mojitos at the beach. Maybe I will happily accept that I was wrong. But yeah, I think it's gonna keep increasing slowly from now.
Well, that's reassuring, right? Because it's so hard to tell what's coming in the future, and it's like the speculation is all over the place, right? And especially what you just said is if AI is smarter than a human, then can't doesn't that mean that the AI can then build like one that's even smarter than itself and smarter than itself, and the next thing you know, like it controls the planet, and maybe we're headed that way anyway, but it's you're so right that when ChatGPT started, it was such a leap, and it was like, whoa, this like upends so many things, and then you think, well, will it will it compound even more? And you're saying, well, it won't be like those huge leaps, but it will get cheaper and faster and better incrementally. It's like, okay, cool. So maybe there's time for us to catch up, get our heads wrapped around this, and I feel like I really like your advice here of taking a look at the bigger picture and saying, what are my daily tasks? And instead of spending all your time on those daily tasks, like devote budget a little bit of time saying, well, how can I improve what I already have in place in whatever form that might take, right? Systematizing, automating, running it through some kind of system, having a better checklist. Like it's just good advice in general. But I want to make sure that we cover what is important and what you're passionate about here, Mr. Sylvestre. So here I am asking all these different questions, but in this conversation we're having, is there a missing, hidden, invisible question that I should be asking you? I just don't know to ask you.
Not maybe an invisible question, but there's something special about us compared to many other companies in the space is that we are small and remote. So we are five people. We serve thousands of customers. We have processed more than 100 million. Well, we reached our 100 million document received a few earlier this year, and still we are able to serve this global audience. We have customers in I don't know, I think 50 countries or something like that, and still we have five. So I think this shows the power of automation. What we are doing today, we could not have done it a few years ago. We now we are on the five people. We are in five continents. We are in the 12 hours span time zone difference. So it's incredible that it works. That we are able to do that, and we stay small on purpose, not because we just want to grow the revenue and make lots of profit, but just we are trying to push automation internally as fast as possible and as much as possible so that we understand what it is to automate a business so that we can apply those learnings to and pass it to our customers. So I think that's something that I find it as a fun little game or fun little business quest to do at Parseur.
I do like that question. That's amazing. You practice what you preach, right? You say that, well, uh, years ago, it might have taken 20, 30 people or more, but you say, hey, it's just five people. And because of the magic, the technology, the speed of remote work and different time zones, different continents, five people, and you're making all this work. And so this tool, the platform is called Parseur. That's PARSEUR.com. They'll save you time and money. Their records show that on average every month, a Parseur customer saves about 189 hours of manual data entry or $7,500. And that makes Parseur 98% cheaper than manual entry and represents more than 90K in savings every year. And they do all sorts of amazing stuff, right? They parse dates, they parse data, they get it transformed into where it needs to go. So if you're spending too much time copying and pasting, then you should instead be using that time to grow your business instead, because the data trapped inside documents is unstructured and not easy to reuse. And manually extracting data from documents is painful, it's error prone, It's a waste of your time, and you should instead leverage the data in your documents. With a document parsing tool like Parseur, you can convert all your documents into structured data that you can easily reuse in your business applications. So if someone wants to book a demo and try this tool out, where do they go? Is it parseur.com?
Yeah, Parseur.com. If, as I said, if you're happy to try it all by yourself, there is a button. You will guide it through by your AI. If you have questions, we have an AI bot that will reply to you. But at any point, if the AI is too not smart enough for your questions or whatever, you click the talk to a person button and we'll be behind it.
Very cool. You give us choices, right? You could self-serve or you can get help, and either way you get to your solution as fast as possible. So we've been speaking with Mr. Sylvestre Dupont from Parseur.com. He's the co-founder of Parseur, which is an AI-powered platform that automates data extraction from documents. And before I let you go, Mr. Sylvestre, it's time for the scary part of the show where I try to stump you, I try to put you on the spot by asking about a fun quote or lesson that has served you in life or in business. So what comes to mind for a quote or lesson?
Well, I would think that the one that comes to mind now is, I think it's a Chinese proverb, but nobody knows who said that first anyway. It's that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So, and I think I like it for two reasons. There is the first obvious thing that, okay, what is done is done. The past is the past. But if you really want to do something, there is no time like the present, and just start doing it. I mean, you see it online. There are I see it online. Many entrepreneurs that wishes that would be, or many employees that wishes they would try to start their business. They would like to be successful, and it's always we call them the wantrepreneurs. They want something, but they never really get to it. So I think if you really want something, you want to learn to play an instrument, you want to start a business, you want to travel the world. Well, that's really what you want, just do it today. There is no time like the present. But there is a second side to it that is saying that maybe most people will not grasp or think about, but for me somehow it struck my mind, is that this beautiful tree that you see, the 20 years old tree that you see here, it's not something that even if you had all the money in the world, all the resources in the world, you could do overnight. So there is a bit also a lesson of patience there, that some things take time. Like, so you have to let time to do its thing. And if we go back to business, it's overnight success is almost never happening. The far and few stories you hear in the press, if you dig a bit into it, of how this company made 100 million overnight or over the first months, you often see that the guys are super seasoned. They have 30 years of experience, and they worked with a team of 50, and there is always a secret sauce to it. It's very rare, or it's impossible to have those overnight successes. So every business is a grind. Everything you really enjoy, every skill you really would like to learn, like an instrument, is a grind. And just take the time you need. If what you need is the passion, the motivation, and then just keep at it, and you'll do great.
I like it. Let time do its thing. If you're baking that cake and you only have a little bit of time, it's not like you can crank up the heat and have a short amount of time and it still works. And Warren Buffett, I think, says if you have 1 month, you can't get 9 women pregnant and have a baby, right? It still takes 9 months to get there. And so there's all sorts of forms that it takes and all sorts of lessons. But in the meantime, we have to just start, and we have to figure out this AI, this automation, and make our business the way it should work, with the documents, with the automation, with the processes, with the workflow. And the first step is to just start using it to try out that software, try out that tool, see where it gets you, and get these business problems solved by going to Parseur.com. That's Parseur.com. Mr. Sylvestre Dupont, it's been such a pleasure, so much fun speaking with you. I'm glad you came. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Robert. Glad to be here.